Good day, everyone. Welcome back to the show. My name is Sean David. Thanks for tuning in. In today's episode, we are going to talk about our top 5 Jean-Claude Van Damme movies. And when I say we, I got a special guest in the house, Jason Brandt. Hey, Jason, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Can't complain. So I'm really hoping that we have a great time talking about one of the, I don't want to say greatest actors of all time because that's not accurate, but one of our generation's favorites. Can you agree?
How about one of the best action stars, not actors?
That makes sense. That makes sense. Now, we both had to narrow it down to our top 5, and we didn't exchange our list, so I don't know who you got, which movies you have in your top 5. You don't know which ones I have, but I would suggest you start with your number 5.
All right, my list is very eclectic and all over the place, so I'll have to explain why each one's on there. But number 5 is JCVD. Have you seen this?
Of course.
It's just a damn good movie. I really enjoyed it. Seeing him kind of make fun of himself and reflect on the highs and lows of his career and all that kind of stuff. It actually surprised me when I watched it, how much I enjoyed it. So I like when people are able to laugh at themselves. And I thought he did a good job in that one.
And he actually showed that he could act. I mean, that was actually one of the earliest movies I can recall where people actually praised him for his acting.
Yeah, he had a scene where I think he cries in it.
Exactly. He has like a 5-minute monologue.
Yeah, it's impressive. It's a solid movie. So if anybody hasn't seen that one, I highly recommend it.
Absolutely. What is your number 4?
My number 4 is Time Cop from late 90s, maybe. I just think this is 1994. Is it that old? Holy crap. You're aging me pretty hard there. This one, it's quality-wise, it might be his best movie. The director has done other good stuff. It's not my favorite movie of his, but it's a bigger budget. The director knew what he was doing, except for a couple of CG shots towards the end. And I'm a sucker for fun time travel stuff. So seeing old and young Van Damme, split kicking his way through time, I thought was a lot of fun.
When did you last see the movie?
It's been a while, probably over a decade now.
Do you recall that scene where Jean-Claude is in the kitchen and he basically jumps up in the kitchen and makes a split on the stove or whatever that was, or the shelf or something? Yeah,
they like electrified the floor or something like that, so he had to do a split. I mean, it's just classic Van Damme.
Yes, and I had to laugh so hard because I'm trying to imagine what was the shoot like. Because Jean-Claude Van Damme always needs to do his splits. Did he go to the director and said, hey, I could do a split right here. That would make sense. Or does the director actually request to have a split because it's Jean-Claude Van Damme?
That's a good question. Did they come up with the split scene because it's Van Damme on the fly, or was that in the script because they knew it was going to be Van Damme? It's a good question.
Yeah. What's your number 3?
So my number 3 is when I start getting wonky with this here. Now, I haven't seen some of his older stuff in a very long time, so I don't remember much about Hard Target, Cyborg, and those. I'm planning on doing those on my channel at some point. But one I just watched recently for the first time is Street Fighter. This movie is so bad that I laughed my ass off watching this turkey. Now you have to remember who you're talking to here. I like that.
I was about to say, because you have a YouTube channel where you cover bad movies, I think your taste is a little bit different than your average Joe. But okay, I never ever expected you to hit me with that one. That's actually that would be in my top 5 worst Jean-Claude Van Damme movies.
And that's why it's on my list, because it is so terrible. I had avoided this one for 25 years or 27 years or however long it's been since it came out because I'd heard how terrible it was, and it 100% lived up to the hype. Don't watch this alone. Don't watch this sober. But if you got a 6-pack and some friends, I guarantee you're going to laugh your ass off.
Wow. All right. That was the first real surprise of the day. That was incredible. But you know what? The funny thing is, I mean, I grew up playing Street Fighter on the Super Nintendo, so I was always in love with that game. And I remember when the movie came into the cinema, as a kid, I still enjoyed the movie. But objectively speaking, it's not a great movie. But what I did like was Raul Julia, who played M. Bison.
Yep.
He was so over the top. I loved his over the top acting. But Jean-Claude Van Damme in that movie, I mean, he's supposed to play Guile, the prototype of American dude, and then you have this Belgium guy with the Belgium accent. I don't know, man.
So while watching it, we kept commenting on the fact that his accent was getting very strange. You know, he always has an accent, obviously, but it was like he was having trouble saying the lines. And we learned afterwards that apparently he was just super high on cocaine.
Yes.
The whole shoot. So it actually explains his extremely strange performance, and it just makes me love it more.
He actually had an affair with Kylie Minogue on the shoot. This guy. Amazing, yeah. I mean, he was on cocaine, was banging Kylie Minogue. This must have been the time of his life.
If he remembers it.
Yeah, if he remembers it. Very true, very true, very true. What is your number 2?
I'm going to go with Kickboxer, even though it's the exact same story as Bloodsport, Lionheart, The Quest, and half his other movies where he somehow gets involved in an underground fighting tournament. This movie is a lot of fun. It has all the cheesy 80s mystical martial arts stuff in it. There's some fun training stuff where he's kicking trees and they're dropping coconuts or something on him. And it's just a movie that is very reminiscent of the 80s. It just exemplifies the 80s in a lot of fun ways. It's ridiculous, it's fun, and it's good stuff.
I have to agree. So I really know what number 1 has to be. If you're going to shot me with another Jean-Claude Van Damme movie than the one I'm expecting now, I will turn this conversation off right away. But okay, hit me with your number 1.
I got to say Bloodsport.
Okay, good.
If I want to watch a Van Damme movie, that is the one I put on. It is so stupid. It is so over the top. It is so ridiculous. And yet it just makes me smile. I just love that. All the screaming and the ridiculous martial arts styles they put in. It's just, I love that movie. I can watch it anytime with someone, by myself, drunk, sober, falling asleep, doesn't matter. That movie is great.
All right. So as I told you before, I think we should have at least 1 or 2 movies that we have on the same spot. But let me hit you up with my number 5. And I'm pretty sure you might even haven't seen that movie, but my number 5 is also, in my opinion, one of the most underrated Van Damme movies of all time, Double Team.
Oh.
With Jean-Claude Van Damme and Dennis Rodman.
So I remember renting that. I remember thinking it was terrible, but I don't really remember much about it at all.
It's actually a good movie. It's Van Damme basically being an agent or a cop or something like that, and he gets killed but not killed and lands on a mystical island with all the other agents, and people think that he's dead, but he's doing undercover work. Really messed up story, but the action is nice. Van Damme's acting is, for Van Damme standard, pretty good. Dennis Rodman, you don't expect much acting, but the movie itself, I can't actually explain why I feel so high about that movie, but it's a very good watch. So I can recommend it if you haven't seen it out there. Definitely watch Double Team.
I'm going to have to watch that again. I'm looking forward to it.
You should. I'm not sure if it's a topic for your show, but who knows? My number 4 is JCVD. You already mentioned that movie. To me, acting-wise, I think it's Jean-Claude Van Damme's strongest movie. It's a movie where he's basically not playing your typical action star, but he's actually showing emotions, and you feel sorry for him at some part. I mean, he's making fun of himself, which we both like, but also on one part you feel sorry, and which is kind of tricky. Like, it's hard to feel sorry for a superstar. You know, I have all the money in the world. No, I got all the chicks in the world, but you actually do feel sorry for him. So they shoot the movie in a very, very smart way. My number 3 is Lionheart. Mm-hmm. Which I was expecting you to have in your top 5. Yes, it's a pretty similar movie to Kickboxer and Bloodsport, but I think it's the first movie where Van Damme actually shows that he can act. I like the fighting sequences, and I think all in all, I mean, I talked to Sheldon Lettish, who directed the movie, and he said something which is very true. If you take the fight scenes out of Lionheart, you still get a movie, which you don't have with too many Van Damme movies.
That's very true. And it actually has the favorite character of mine from any Van Damme movie, I think. And that's his sidekick. I can't remember the character's name anymore.
Joshua.
Yeah, with the bum leg.
Yes.
That guy kills
he's
it.
Funny. He's funny. He's funny.
Yeah, that's a solid character. So I just didn't put it on my list because it's the same story as Kickboxer and Bloodsport, and I didn't want to have the same movie essentially on 3 times.
Okay, now you're making me feel bad because my number 2 is Kickboxer.
I wonder what number 1 is.
Yeah, surprisingly, my number 1 is Street Fighter. No, I'm kidding. Obviously, Bloodsport. And you mentioned something which is very true. That is a movie that hits you with so many elements. On the one side, of course, it's a dumb movie, because the story is outlandish. The acting is over the top. The fighting sequences are over the top. But if you want to see a real 80s movie with 80s music, with 80s style, with 80s acting, with everything 80s, this is the movie you have to see. And to me, it still holds up pretty well. I watched it a week ago, and I think I watched it for the 50th time, and I can still watch it.
I can't argue with that at all. It's a ton of fun. It's a ton of fun.
Is there any movie, like, from the top of your head where you thought, okay, that movie could have made my top 5, but I didn't take it for whatever reason? Because I have an honorable mention.
Of Van Damme stuff. That's a good question. Like I said, I'm starting to just kind of go back through his stuff recently. So I haven't gotten to a lot of it that I want to, but is it Hard Target where he has the mullet?
You got to think for mullets, huh?
Oh, hey man, I love the 80s. So I will put that on my list, even though I don't remember much of the movie because his hair is so preposterous.
Wow. You know, for those of you guys who haven't seen Jason's show before, I have the feeling, I watch it on a regular basis, and I have the feeling that you rate a movie, concerning how great the mullet is. Like, if it's a long mullet, oh, that's a good movie. If it's a tiny mullet, it's not so good. Like, this is a true rating criteria for you. The size of the mullet.
Yeah, I think that's why I don't like newer movies as much, because mullets aren't in it. You know, it's like when they cut Samson's hair, the quality of the movies went down.
All right, you guys. So, you guys, thanks for watching. Jason, thanks for being on the show. Thanks for sharing your top 5 Jean-Claude Van Damme movies. Thanks
for having me. It was fun.
I hope we can do this again sometime. Maybe talking about the worst Steven Seagal movies. Who knows?
Jesus, how long do you have?
Yeah, the top 20 worst Steven Seagal movies.
It's called his entire career after 1994.
All right, you guys. See you next time on the show.